Good morning and welcome to another edition of Let It Be Known. I am your host, Stacy Brown.
Peace and love, everyone. Welcome and come on in. I'm your co-host, Niele Anderson, and we have lots of headlines for you. Have a couple of HBCU news tidbits that you should know about, and Orange G. Yes, we will be talking about Marvin Winans being the latest pastor to have an offering scandal.
Oh Lord. But first let's see what our producer has.
Because a digital currency, and this is all accepted. This is all accepted. This is not theory. Is programmable. They can program a digital currency to mean you can only spend it on certain things and you can't spend it on others not designated by the government. And it's programmable so it can only be spent in a certain area. So if you go outside of your zone, your money won't work. And not only that, it means that when you go past one of these number plate cameras when you quote shouldn't, you won't be able to challenge the fine because the fine will be taken out of your digital account the moment you transgress. This is what's happening. Now, these digital currencies are called central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, because a digital currency, and this is all accepted. This is all accepted. This is not theory. Is programmable. They can program a digital currency to mean you can only spend it on certain things and you can't spend it on others not designated by the government. And it's programmable so it can only be spent in a certain area.
Well. And folks, there's a lot more to come on that, but they told us it was about innovation, but it was never about progress. When you hear folks like that talk about it, and it's being talked about, but not talked about enough, it's all about control. And Trump is continuing to crash the economy. He's pushing a crypto system tied to his power. And he's handed the keys, to people like Elon Musk, who walked away with all of our data. We don't know where he has it at, what he's doing with it. And then we have on the other side of that, Niel, or to go along with it, not the other side, real ID, right? And folks have been talking about this real ID. What's the big deal about this real ID? And now this looming cashless society, every purchase, every movement, and every identity can be traced, frozen, or erased.
And you can also look at who Donald Trump is aligning himself with when you look at world leaders. And, just like you have the G7 summit and you have NATO's, Trump is creating his own group of bandits. And that's what they are, bandits. And so you never know what type of internal conversations they're having. And, he has middlemen like Elon Musk, Jared Kushner. And so, this could very well be the direction we're headed in. And it also made me think of a movie called Leave the World Behind. I encourage everybody to watch it. It's on Netflix. It's with Julia Roberts. And it talks about how, these technology giants can take over. We see all of these driveless cars. Think about if somebody just wanted to mess with the grid,
Hmm.
what would happen, and you saw that happening. And it also made cash an important currency to have, because there was only like one person, that had cash. And cash, no matter what, is still going to be gold. So Orangey, you're right to pack your mattress. Because that became a valuable asset to have.
Yeah, but what they are saying though, and this is not just this guy, but we see it in the UK with the prime minister there, and a few other places. This is what Trump is aiming at. to take to make cash meaningless. It's all about. You see, Barron Trump just made 190 million dollars off of uh, alleged insider trading when it comes to crypto. They are looking at controlling us through
Yeah.
this crypto stuff, and meaning that the cash is not going to mean anything. And what about those?
I don't
Go ahead,
think
Mia.
so though. I think cash will
Mhm.
still have like a black market. Like I think you will still, because I think cash will still be a currency. I'm just talking about in the United States.
Mhm.
I'm not talking
Mhm.
worldwide, but I'm
Mhm.
just talking about just like you have a black market, cash will still have relevant. Now it might take time to phase it out, but if this were to happen, I think cash would still have value, but it would just be like turned more into a black market of trades and good. But I think cash is still going to be valuable for a long time. But to the point of the video, cryptocurrency would control everything. But just like you have a black market, I think cash will still be valuable for a period of time. That's just my
Yeah,
thoughts. Well,
we're
that's just my thoughts.
yeah, we're going to we're not going to drop this topic, folks. We're gonna try and get some experts on here to talk about this issue, because more a lot of these financial experts and those who have been dealing with this administration and others for a while now, they are you're seeing more and more of these videos pop up with them explaining what they see happening. So I think it's important, especially for Black folks and underserved folks and brown folks, to understand exactly what is happening, because we keep saying, people, well, they kept saying the American dream is to do this or that, buy a house and this. There's a lot to that, as far as what they're trying to do to eliminate, for us to make that. They keep moving the goalposts. Well, they're trying to take the goalposts totally away now.
Yeah, I mean, but you see that already happening when you think about direct deposit, when you think about how we use our phones now. You don't even need a card. It's just
Mhm.
a tap. I mean, you see the direction and what's happening. And there have been stories just as of late last week about how, even if Trump decides to give these tariff checks out, there won't be physical checks. And, most black and brown people, they still cash checks.
Mhm.
These check cashing companies are thriving in these urban communities because a lot of people just have not transferred over to this paperless electronic system that we're in. So yeah, it's definitely going to attack the vulnerable, the least of these, and it's already happening now. Direct deposit is a way to go. A lot of people don't even want to cut physical checks anymore.
Yeah, and what's interesting, what's uh, different topic, same person, is who said that you can destroy the White House and rebuild something on it. Who said that? I mean, this is not Donald Trump's. He doesn't own the White House.
Yeah, we're going to jump into that a little bit later in
Later,
the
yeah.
show. Yeah.
And folks, yesterday, I'm gonna jump around just a little bit. The Toronto Blue Jays defeated the Seattle Mariners in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series, setting up a World Series between the Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers, of course, a lot of us rooted for them last year. Black manager doing his thing, and the ownership is very, very much. Uh, Minority friendly. Magic Johnson is also a co-owner, but I say minority friendly because they have shown that they have a lot of Latin American players. But not only that, they took that stand against ICE earlier this year at Dodger Stadium. The Los Angeles Dodgers organization did. They kicked them out. They said they wasn't welcome. They set up roadblocks to keep ICE out, because they recognize they have a lot of Latino fans, and the Toronto Blue Jays, of course, from Canada. And reading the timelines, the tea leaves, people are rooting hard simply not because they don't like the Dodgers, but simply because what a message. And during the game last night, I watched the game between the Blue Jays and the Mariners, and there was a commercial that came on, folks. This commercial talked about how bad tariffs are, how bad
Mhm.
tariffs have always been, and it was a 60-second commercial, and that 60 seconds, an individual read off all of these reasons why it's bad, and you knew the voice when you heard the voice. They didn't show the person until the end, as they showed the results of all the tariffs. You know who
Mhm.
that person was? That person was none other than Ronald Wilson Reagan. And it really was a shot against a huge shot against what this crazy unhinged administration is doing. So the Blue Jays and the Dodgers kick off later this week, Niele. And I know you're gonna root for the Dodgers, you're in LA.
Well, I
But
know that, yeah, it kicks off. It actually kicks off on Friday, the
hmm
24th. And there's another conversation that's happening, and that is a hip hop culture conversation. And folks are saying the battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar continues with the Toronto Blue Jays, as they will face the LA Dodgers. And so, of course, you have the political conversation happening, but from a cultural standpoint, a lot of people are looking at the irony of Canada and LA. You know, it could have been Canada in New York, could have been Canada in Chicago, but it's
hmm
Canada in LA. And that was one of the top three biggest battles in hip hop culture. And so to see this, in addition to the tariffs, you're going to see a lot of cultural conversations around hip hop. You probably might see Kendrick Lamar at a Dodger game and then see Drake at a Blue Jays game. And so I think both of those topics together are going to make this World Series exciting to watch.
Yeah, and again, Los Angeles is where not just the Dodgers, but the city took a stand against ICE and is taking a stand against ICE. And Canada is a place that has said we are not bowing down to Trump as well. So it's a very interesting. I'm sure these are the last two teams that Donald Trump wanted in the World Series, wanted to see in the World Series. So that already is a victory. So we will see. And speaking of hip hop and Trump, a brand new report by TMZ came out last night saying that Donald Trump is going to make a decision this week, considering whether he will either pardon Diddy or commute his sentence. And according to they quote several sources that there's a big fight going on in the White House where some staffers are saying no, do not commute or pardon him, while others are saying why not. And of course, we all know, Niele, that pardons have been bought and sold, and Diddy still has a whole boatload of money. He was offering 50 million to the judge to get him out of jail. Um,
Oh, he
so
was? I
he,
didn't know that. He
oh
offered the
yeah,
judge. Isn't that illegal?
no, no. Okay, let me clarify, folks. He offered for his bond. He offered to put up $50 million,
Hmm.
plus all everything else. I mean, his passports, wearing ankle breakers. But the bottom line is he offered $50 million to go along with that. So I can only imagine. I can only imagine that he might say 75 million Trump for the pardon.
Mm, yeah. I mean, hey, we'll see what happens this week. You know, Trump is on a roll. You know, he knows how to make headlines. He knows how to, he's doing a lot of things. He knows that black men are on the fence. And so, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he pardoned Diddy. And I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't care either way. But what the problem, Neil, is if he is purchasing this pardon, if the president is selling, not that he's purchasing it. Yeah, listen. If I was in Diddy's position, and I could afford to buy a pardon, I would do so too. But the president selling the pardon, there's a whole lot wrong with that. No. Okay. Well,
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no or no. I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, and I don't think we probably ever find out. I'm just
we
looking
know
at
he
he
sold.
just
We know
I mean,
he stole
I know
pardons.
that what's his name? Santos, he didn't buy his pardon. I mean, he can't afford it. I mean,
Yeah, but we
so
know that there have been those who have, though.
but I mean, but Larry Hoover, he couldn't afford a pardon and he did it. So I mean, I just don't know that that's the case. I think that the value of Diddy might be more even than a dollar amount when you look at the conversation around black men. Um, and so I don't know about the money situation. I'm just saying that if he does pardon him, I'm not mad.
No, right. But what I'm saying is it should bother everybody that a pardon would be for sale. I'm not talking Diddy. I'm talking about the fact that this administration has made it known that a pardon is for sale.
Well, he's
That's the
pardoning a lot of
problem.
people, but I'm just saying he's pardoning a lot of people that
Oh, I
didn't have the
understand
money to
that.
pay for that. So I don't know if Diddy's paying for a part. I mean, to
No,
me,
I'm
there's
not talking about Diddy at this moment. I'm saying that it's mind blowing that someone would not have a problem with the fact that you have a president that says if you pay me a certain amount, I will pardon you. That is just it's illegal.
so who has he done that for? Not defending Trump.
Le-
I'm just saying who has paid for a pardon. I'm just curious.
So there is speculation that Jared Kushner's dad was the first to do it. There's speculation
Oh, I thought he
that
did it for Jared. I didn't know that his father paid
no,
for it.
no, there's been a lot, and I'm not. This is not just rhetoric. This has been reported in various outlets that several people, including Jared Kushner's dad, among other folks, have gotten pardons because they've either contributed millions to this Trump thing or that Trump thing or whatever.
Mhm.
There's been many of reports of that.
Yeah. I-
Um,
yeah. Dr.
and
Maryland
all
brought up Kwame Kilpatrick. Yeah, I know he don't have the money
mhm.
to pay for no pardon.
Well, all
Um,
I'm saying is that what I'm saying is it's illegal. But Trump is above the law, so it's not illegal for him now. But that should be a problem. I don't understand. What am I talking about here? It should be a problem that a president would sell pardons. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah, it's
got to be a
definitely a
problem.
problem. Yeah, I'm just saying who bought a pardon. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Okay, okay, so what we need to do, folks, what I need to do, folks, is and you're right to that extent. I'll put it out there tomorrow, folks. I'll get the list of those who have bought these pardons, and Trump has been vociferous himself about it too. He's not hid the fact that he's for sale.
RNG said Lil Wayne and Kodak Black paid 3 million.
3 million.
I mean, does Lil Wayne have that money? I remember Jay-Z bought him out of a deal. And he smokes a lot. I mean, drinks a lot of lean. I don't know if he had. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just don't. Kodak Black, I don't know. But hey, I don't
Oh
know.
gosh. Oh my God. Right, Dr. Nicole. That's what I'm saying. Are we really saying that Trump is above selling a pardon?
No, I
Um,
don't think that he's above selling a pardon. I'm just saying with this whole Diddy situation,
yeah.
I don't know if that's the reason why, Diddy is getting out. There's a lot of value
Yeah.
in Diddy being on the streets when you think about this whole conversation around black men. I know Diddy would do anything to get out of prison. I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm just saying I don't know if that's the case. Trump will do something for a
Mhm.
headline. He'll do
Oh,
stuff for
without
money.
question.
He'll do stuff for a headline. So I'm just saying, I don't know if that,
Yeah.
that's not the first thing that pops in my mind. Did he pay for a part?
So I was interested. I'm not saying he's going to pay for a part. What I said is that he can.
Yeah, he
He's in the
can.
position to. Um, now I will say this without saying who. I can't say who, but somebody who is very close to Diddy or was very close to Diddy, and somebody who's very close to Donald Trump. Get that? Told me that the other day that this was going to happen, and
Mhm.
so not the pay part, but there is money involved somewhere, and what that individual said, it'll be plain to see where money is involved. So we will see. Um, we will see if it comes to pass. They're saying that a
Yeah.
lot of people, there's people in the White House who are saying no, don't. And you can imagine the Stephen Millers of the world would be like, "You gonna pardon that black dude?" And Trump is probably like, well, I pardon other
And I
black
think that
dudes.
right. And I think that, but Trump, just from the perspective of Trump has pardoned a lot of black men, like Kwame Kilpatrick is one,
I won't say a
Hoover is
lot. I'll
one,
say a couple of them, a few of them.
Hoover, but the point is he has pardoned cultural people that have impact on our community. And
Hmm.
so a lot of the times when he has specifically picked black people, like the lady that is the cars now, that Kim Kardashian helped get out of prison. A lot of times he'll do stuff within the black community for a different purpose. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and he
That's all
used
I'm saying. He
right.
uses it's
He
sometimes
used her, that woman that was pardoned, to help with his election bid. She was
right.
campaigning for him and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's
And so to
always
have
something.
somebody, it's always something with him.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that. I'm not just saying about the money. There's a lot of value. Sometimes the value is not money. Sometimes the value is something else.
And like David,
Diddy has both. He has both.
hmm
And so, it'd just be interesting to see.
and like David Youngblood said, he has not pardoned many innocent people. That's for sure.
That is true.
If any, if any.
That is true.
Who's innocent that he's pardoned? That's another list we should get together. Maybe I'll look for that because it'll be an extremely short list. That's for sure. If
And I
anybody
know
made
he
that
doesn't
list.
have any money. He don't have no money.
Oh
George
gosh. He
Santos, he
says
don't have no money.
he's gonna go to work for Trump. Of course
Yeah.
he is.
See that there's value. Yeah. So sometimes the value is not the money. I mean, I don't even know what value he has though. This guy right
I
here,
was going to
George.
say,
What's the
what
value in him?
he gonna help them clean up the construction mess over there after they finish at the White House? He gonna, be the garbage man? Because this guy has absolutely zero value.
Hmm.
So
Right. And
and he
see,
also does stuff to spite people too. I mean, that George Santos thing was just to spite folks. That's
and Diddy speaks to who Donald Trump is, right?
Mhm.
Just like us, George Santos. He swindles people out of money. He did the same thing that Donald Trump did. As far
Mhm.
as Diddy is concerned with women, Donald Trump, when he does that, it to me, he it's either has to do with money or women and sexual abuse. Those are the
Mm.
people that he likes to grant favor to because it's at the core of who he is.
David Youngblood said Santos will be the ambassador to the transgender community. Yeah, that's the other part. He makes him an
I
ambassador.
don't think that might offend the transgender community.
That could, well,
That might offend them.
that's
They don't
true.
want him. They don't want him.
Yeah, and Dr. Joni says she'd like to point out the disgusting irony that Trump is a convicted felon setting other felons
Felons
free.
free.
The leader of our country is a convicted felon, she says.
Yeah.
Well, the fallout over his disgusting use of AI, or his team's disgusting use of AI, where they were defecating on protesters, continues. And this time it's Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins from Footloose fame. He says that Trump is not allowed to use his music. He says, quote, "This is an unauthorized use of my performance of Danger Zone. Nobody asked me for my permission, which I would have denied, and I
Mm.
request that my recording on this video is removed immediately. I can't imagine why anybody would want their music used or associated with something created with the sole purpose of dividing us. Too many people are trying to tear us apart, and we need to find new ways to come together." He says, "We are all Americans and we are all patriotic. There is no us and them. That's not who we are, nor is it what we should be. It's all of us. We're in this together, and it is my hope that we can embrace music as a way of celebrating and uniting each and every one of us."
Mm. Yeah. AI is technology is an interesting thing because we don't know how to handle it because it's ever evolving, it's ever new. There are no regulations about it. Before Trump, the country was moving towards having hearings and thinking about creating an office, just like you have the FCC for television.
Mhm.
Technology needs to either be folded into that or there needs to be a new office created for rules and regulations for technology because it's new. You know,
Mhm.
most of us in the chat, and you and I, Stacy, we are pre technology. You know, we had phones in the house. You know what I'm saying? If there
Mhm.
was no call waiting, you know what I'm saying? And so you have this whole new industry with no rules, no regulations. And at this point, who's going to stop Donald Trump? Because he's not going to, he's taking money. He's taking money from Google, from AI, from Meta, from X, so that they could have free will to do what they want. So
Mhm.
I'm not too sure about how much that he's going to pay attention to this, but for some of the companies, self-governance is how it goes, because we know earlier OpenAI sent a letter to the King family after we talked about last week,
Mhm.
Dr. King popping up being DJs and cussing and inviting people to the club with suits and gold chains. So OpenAI has
Yeah.
decided to block any generated videos about Dr. King following the family's complaints. But
Yeah.
OpenAI is one of the largest AI companies, but they're not the only ones. So if they
Yeah.
stop it, it doesn't mean that another company can't stop it. So we have a technology problem that has no governance, that has no rules, no regulations. And so it'll be interesting to see how far his frustration gets.
Yeah, Shonda H says that this is on the American voters. They voted to put a convicted felon back in office. Had Trump not been allowed to run a second time, you wouldn't see this. It's about power. So part of that statement that she makes, again, I know people, many people say that. Again, I still don't believe that you got. I still don't believe he won. I'm gonna say, and there's more and more people who understand that they stole that, but nonetheless, but I think the second part of that is the most profound. She says, had Trump not been allowed to run a second time, you wouldn't see this. There was no rhyme or reason why he should have been allowed to run in the first place. 34 felony convictions. Austin is asking, when will he pardon himself? He can't, because those are state charges.
Mhm.
He didn't go far enough. The election came before his federal trial. So those are state sentences. So maybe he'll figure out a way to get New York to pardon him. I don't know. But nonetheless, nonetheless, I think it's more of that second part of Shonda H's statement about, had he not been allowed to run. It's a reflection not on the voters. It's a reflection on Congress, the Senate, and the Supreme Court for
Mhm.
allowing a convicted felon, a multiple times convicted felon, to not only run for office but take office.
Right, right.
The murder trial of the officer who shot Sonia Massey has begun. The former Illinois deputy who is accused of killing Sonia began in Illinois. She's a black mother. You remember her, 36 years old, who was fatally shot in July of last year after calling authorities to her Springfield home over concerns about a prowler. But body cam footage shows that the two deputies responding to the incident, including County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson, who is white, shot Massey 3 times, and he said in the report after the incident that he feared bodily harm because she was holding a pot of boiling water.
Mm, mm. It'll be interesting. Now, this is a state case, right? This isn't federal, right?
This is a state case. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we pray that, she gets justice. Because we all saw the video. We all saw what happened. And, white officers are always quick to draw on black folks. But the grace and leniency that they give white folks is not the same. We watched it. It was horrific. And we saw it with our own eyes. So it'll be interesting to see how a jury cannot, that, like, there, to
Yeah.
me there's only one answer, and it's guilty. There's no justification. She's a woman at that. She wasn't a man. She was a woman. He could have apprehended her,
Oh,
put her in
and
the back of the
also,
car, and took her.
right, and also you said she has a pot of boiling water. Okay, if you felt threatened in that way, you not only have the choice of a gun, you have the choice of a taser.
Right. Or he could have shot her in the leg. Or he could have shot her in the head with
So
the
the argument they
fly.
will always make, Niele, officers, and I have talked to officers many times as a journalist and just as an associate, and they will tell you that they only go by their training, and it never occurs to them to shoot somebody other than to take them out till they're no longer a threat when they're shooting. I don't agree with it, but this is every single officer that I have spoken to, and it's been at least a dozen, says
Mhm.
the same thing. And um, I just think it's wrong. If that's so, that's one thing. When you talked yesterday about defunding the police and stuff like that, this is the one of the things that gets lost in all that. People ran with the whole get rid of police. It wasn't about get rid of police, right? It was about doing what was right. But this is one of the things that keeps coming up. The training. If you are
Mhm.
only training officers to kill, then you're training them uh, to have disregard for life.
Yeah, but and it's also just about reimagining what public safety
Right.
is in this country. And there's also been statistics that show that when people police their own communities, what you also have is a lot of white folks coming from suburban areas into communities that they're afraid of. Let's just
Mhm.
start there. They're afraid, or they feel a level of supremacy, white supremacy, right? To where they have dominion over people. And so that's why when we talk about defunding the police or reimagining public safety, that's what we're talking about. Like
Yeah.
people, officers that patrol their communities, they're familiar, they know the people know them. It's a totally different exchange. Like, I just can't go back to the motto of taste the soul. That's why there's no problems, because the Nation of Islam is there to protect us and
Mm.
to de-escalate situations. And there's a level of respect that they have, that young people have for them, that they just don't have for police officers. And so I just this whole conversation of reimagining. I think it was David Youngblood said he could have just asked her to put the pot down. I said shoot her in the hand. But how about that? Just ask her to put the damn pot down.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and another part of when you talk about you can jump into the reparations conversation too, because again, black folks, brown folks, minorities as a whole have difficult time trusting police, and they know that, and they also know this. They also know that they don't want that trust. They know they can't be trusted. They know that they are there for many of them are there to do exactly what this officer did, and that's a fact. That's unfortunately a fact. Um,
Or
and Dr.
either
Matt,
having, when you have like public safety, when you talk about reimagining public safety, a lot of the cities has started adopting having a different type of agencies, like domestic violence agencies,
oh,
mental
that's what
health
exactly.
agencies,
Hmm.
right, with patrol officers. My
Hmm.
cousin just got a job with the Genesis Center, which helps women in domestic violence cases. And so she's going to be going out with police officers on domestic violence calls to be
Hmm.
the first part to help de-escalate the situation, because she has the experience. And
Yeah.
so that's like there could have been a mental health advocate that went with him, right, to help de-escalate
Well,
that situation.
she called the police because she felt somebody was breaking into her house. So in this case, they didn't know about any mental health, or they could not have suspected any mental health situation. But to your
When
point,
he got on the scene,
once
yeah,
they realized it, that's
right.
where, right, the
That's what I'm
call could
talking
have been
about.
made.
Yeah.
It could
Mhm.
have been let's stand
He
down
could have
until
waited
we get somebody,
outside.
right,
Yeah. I
until
mean,
we
that's
get
what
the
I'm
right person.
saying.
Yep.
Reimagining public safety, how you approach a situation.
Yep.
How do you de escalate a situation?
Orange E says at the No Kings rally in South Carolina, a white woman brandished a pistol at protesters. The police saw it, and no one was not one shot was fired. She was arrested without a scratch. And you know what his point is. Um, and also, Shonda H mentions if the jury isn't a reflection of the community and Black folks continue to dodge jury summons, it helps cases like this get bad cops off. Yeah, there we've talked about that, but there's a double-edged sword there. Again, you're asking Black folks to get involved in the court system, the criminal justice system, and that has often not ended well, even with the best of intentions. So
Huh?
it's a
Wait a
whole
minute. Wait,
thing.
what, we're talking about jury duty.
Right, we are talking about jury duty, but
Right.
when has a Black person felt comfortable walking into a courtroom
To do jury duty?
to do anything? It's like getting in your car and
I
driving. It's
mean, I
like going to
think that's when we
Starbucks.
go back. I think that's where we go back to Civics 101.
No,
Civic,
I think it's
wait,
more
no,
than
no,
just
no, no,
that.
no, no. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. We go
Mhm,
back to Civics 101. Civic participation is not just about voting.
mhm,
It's about community and being a part of the process to
mhm,
see the environment that you want.
mhm,
And so, jury duty is a part of civic duty. So if you vote,
mhm,
if you go to your police committee, not just jury duty, but your police commission meetings. They happen once a week in your community. If you want to be a part of the change you want to see, you have to participate. Going to your city council member meeting. You know what I'm saying? Doing those things, going if you have a child and they're in school, or if you just don't
mhm.
have a child but you want to go to school board meeting to see how they're putting up the zonings around the school. So all of that and jury duty, it's all a part of civic participation.
I understand that, and I also understand why Black people in particular don't. Like I said, interaction, like you said, this police community group interaction with anything to do with law enforcement has often ended badly. Right? That's
It's
number one.
not the boogeyman.
It is to me. I'm telling you right now. To me, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But but um, the other part, right, Dr. Joni, both are true. But the other part of it is that again, let's go back to reparations. You know why? Because this country has made it so that most Black people, we out here hustling. We trying to support our families. We're working 2, 3 jobs. We don't have time for that. But that's not because we don't want to be involved. It's because you've created a system that has suppressed us so badly. We have no choice but to do what we got to do to make sure that roof is over our children's head and food is on the table. We don't have the luxury of that time. That's the other part, and that's not our fault.
David Youngblood is saying we should never decline jury duty. Shonda is saying we need representation throughout the criminal justice and legal system. Dr. Joni says both are true. Nancy says everyone should be on jury duty. You have to have a driver's license, and voting allows you to be a part of jury. Nicole Daniel says, same as being a part of medical studies, but there is a historical reason why Black folks don't do that either. And Dr. Marilyn says, I've been called at least 5 times to sit on the jury, and I've never been selected. I want to.
Yeah, it's part of the trauma that they have inflicted on us. And so that's why I don't blame folks who decide I don't have time for it or I don't want to be a part of
I'm
it.
sorry, I gotta jump in there. That's trifling.
Uh, Well,
I
say what you will.
understand what you're saying about
Mhm.
the trauma, but we cannot complain about our condition if we're not willing to put our bodies on the line to fix it. And that's just the bottom line. If you don't go to jury duty, Black people are getting locked up. That's why you have committees created, right, to make sure that justice is served, that there's representation. You go to your, I know that you go to your children's, you are very much involved in your children's school. It's the same thing. How is that any different?
Listen, I'm not saying, listen, I got called for jury duty not long ago, and my problem is I went in there thinking, listen, if the person is Black, I'm not sending that person to jail. If the person is white, she going to jail. He going to jail. But nonetheless, what I'm saying is I understand. I'm not saying they shouldn't. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying I understand when they're saying that when y'all are saying they can't, they can't do it. They just tied
I
up.
don't know nobody,
The
thank
system
God,
has
because listen. I don't know a lot of people that make that decision, but I'm aware that they're out there. It's just, I think that, we have a civic responsibility. We live here for
Oh, it
ourselves.
it is true, but all I'm saying is that I'm not excusing them. All I'm saying is I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it. I'm saying that this is the reasons why they probably don't. That's all I'm saying.
Mm.
And I think if you talk to many people, they will tell you, the people who won't, they will tell you one of those two reasons. But you're right. They should participate because, like I said, when I went in
It's
that
not
courtroom,
they, it's we should.
well, when I right, okay, when I went to that courtroom, I'm telling you what my mindset was. So, um, it wasn't good, but I get it. I'm not telling you that don't do it. I'm saying I understand those two reasons why I understand. That's all.
Yeah. And I think, that's like, we talk about reimagining public safety. We need to reimagine civic participation. It goes beyond the ballot box. And that's where Republicans are winning. That's how Republicans were able to take over school boards across this country. It's because it's the daily activity that we miss. That's why, police commissions, people run for these local offices. And, come November, I think there's over like 30,000 elections that are happening. And I'm talking about mayors, I'm talking about city council members, I'm talking about school board members. All of that matters. Just in jury duty is in all of that. Civic participation is not just a presidential election, and it's not just the midterms next year. It is about
Well,
how we reimagine this
mhm.
country, because the Republicans get it. That's why they're in the power that they're in, because they have figured out how to mobilize their people and have them participate on a municipal, state, and federal level. And we have to start doing the same.
And just real quick, Maryland, Michelle Madison mentioned 5 or 6 times she went and wasn't called. That's the other part of it. Like I said, people just don't have time. Missing work. We can't afford to miss work. Um, that's the other. This is not, and I'm saying it's not their fault. It's not these people's fault who say I'm not doing it because of this and that. We can't. Y'all have made it. This racist system has made it so that it's so difficult to participate. That's all I'm saying. Um, I'm not advocating either way. Real quick, this is interesting, Neil. Um, Black folks, they've been trying to get black folks and brown folks involved in hockey for a long, long time. And on Hispanic Heritage Night, the San Jose Sharks had posted on their bulletin board, not bulletin board, scoreboard, the big message board, SJ, San Jose Sharks, in
Mhm.
bold letters, love ice. Go get them, boys. They later apologized and claimed that the message was externally submitted. It flashed up on the huge board in the middle of the arena during the game.
What?
Yes. And it's Hispanic Heritage Night. It's almost like we are holding Hispanic Heritage Night to set y'all up. Come on out so you can get picked up by ice.
Get them, boys. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't like hockey for a reason. That's
this
shameful.
they're
That is
they're saying that
shameful.
this was it was external. They didn't even say here's the thing, they didn't even say it was hacked. They said no, that was an external message that somehow made it to the scoreboard.
Oh, then I really don't want to come to your games. If that's how y'all feel on the inside, you telling
and
me how you feel on the inside? No, I don't want to
yeah,
participate with y'all. No, thank you.
right. And the thing about it is, San Jose, California, they do have a good number of Latino Americans, right?
For sure. Yeah, they do. It's a lot of foreign and cultural activity up there. And so,
Can
yeah,
you imagine? That was not by accident. Come on.
yeah. Mike V says hockey's biggest downfall has been its lack of diversity.
Mm,
Orange
mm,
G
mm.
said mayonnaise. People, mayonnaise. I can't even get it. Come on, son. Most
Come on,
mayonnaise
son.
people do the most. Oh my gosh.
What else you got, Niele?
So we have, you touched on it a little bit, but Trump has begun demolishing portions
Oh
of the East Wing
gosh.
of the White House to build his $250 million ballroom, despite claiming it would not interfere with the existing White House. So liar, liar, pants on fire.
Who gave him the authority, Niele?
Who gonna check them, boo? Okay, but I think a couple of things that happened last week are important that the American people should know about. On last Wednesday, Trump hosted about 3 dozen corporate donors for this ballroom. So last week he hosted about 3 dozen in the glitzy White House dinner. And you had representatives from Lockheed Martin, Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon, and all of them opened up their checkbooks to support the new ballroom under construction. So, guess what? He got the money to do it last week. He got the money. And look what you see happened yesterday. It's coming down. And then also on Friday, Trump was the keynote speaker at a $1 million per plate fundraiser for the MAGA Super PAC at his Mar-a-Lago. And speakers get paid, right? So he walked away with money from that. And so what do you see yesterday? The East Wing coming down.
You know, Barack Obama said it best, and again, y'all know I listen. But he said it best earlier this year. He said, "Imagine if I had done any of this." I mean, that to me, we always remember his mic drop at the Correspondence Dinner, but that to me is the mic drop of mic drops.
Right.
Imagine had I did any of this, is what Barack said.
It's insane that is happening in our country. And then it's important to note that the House of Representatives have only worked 20 days in the past 4 months. 20 days in the past 4 months. And this is under the direction of Mike Johnson that you see there. And to put it in perspective, 4 months is 16 weeks. And they've only worked 80 days. That's 80 work days. That's 80 work days, right? Because it's 120 days in that 16 weeks. It's 80 work days. And Congress has worked only 20 and they make $180,000 per year. Maybe we should send all their asses. No, I was going to say send them to jury duty, but we don't want them because that'll really be some mayonnaise up in the jury system. But yeah, there you have it. 20 days.
Listen,
And we're on a shutdown.
Emiku says it best. That the demolition helps to wipe away the history of our enslaved ancestors having built the White House. And Nancy Wall agrees. She says another way to say that black slaves didn't build that part. He is erasing our historic imprint. Yep.
But who's building it? It ain't nothing but Latino and black folks. We know the makeup of who does the work in DC. Ain't shit changed. We know who does the work. We know who the labor force is in DC. We know who it is. Ain't shit gonna change. It's gonna be some black people and some brown people building that building. And guess what they are? They are the ancestors of black.
Yeah, and for those who want to criticize, and I always criticize Barack Obama, but in this way, we want to criticize him this way. Obama never lost an election, so he didn't need your support.
Right. Well, he did lose a Senate race when he was at the state. In the state, he did lose once.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And so he said, you know what? Hey, when they go low, I go high. He went from Senate to presidency. There you go. Twice.
And Dr. Joni, you bring up a good point as well. They have the best health care that exists. And they only have worked 20 days in the past 4 months. And they're out now into the 26th. and Johnson might extend it then. All because he doesn't want to swear a woman in because she would be the breaking bolt of the Epstein files. And they want to break the economy. They want to break the economy so that people don't get their food stamps, people don't get their housing, and then he's gonna send them a tariff check and say, "Look, I saved you." Now, see, here's another talking. Where are the Democrats at? They need to do a campaign and say, "We want to go back to work."
And the little crumb snatchers will eat up the little tariff or stimulus check or whatever, and they will get on their knees to their master. So there you go.
And moving on, let's jump into a couple of HBCU headlines. It looks like Candace Owens has canceled her FAMU homecoming appearance. Now, what was billed as a stop on her Blexit HBCU campus tour during homecoming season is no longer on the schedule. The FAMU stop was pulled from the itinerary with no explanation, except we will announce a new date soon. I wouldn't hold my breath, folks. I would not hold my breath. So I mean, I haven't heard of any. They had this whole campus tour. I haven't heard a thing about it since they announced it. So and she's already dropped out of one.
And it wasn't allowed into was it Australia and
yeah.
Oh, well, people, what they say about what goes around
goes around, comes around.
She is she's feeling it, isn't she?
There you go. And then more news for the Divine Nine on Southern University's campus. They have suspended. Now we know they suspended Omega Psi Phi for the killing of that young man Caleb. So now it looks like Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity has been suspended as well following hazing and misconduct allegations. And so when will these the Divine Nine get it?
When will all fraternities get it? And it's just ridiculous. The hazing stuff is just one of the stupidest things ever, in my opinion. It's like, come on, I don't need to be in your group if I got to be humiliated, hurt, or somehow dehumanized. I don't that you are nuts for wanting to be a part of that. Well, no, it's not worth it at that point.
I mean, to each his own. Some people that's a family legacy thing. And
I'm opting out of my family if they want to haze me like that to the point where people dying.
I mean, they should get the memo and say it's better to pledge alumni. It's not as deep as it is when you pledge undergrad. So, but I think there just needs to be limits. I think a lot of these students take it too far. You know what I'm saying? I think they take it way too far.
People are dying. It's crazy.
Oh
my God. Listen, they can have that family. I'm happy with my family. They can have that family. That's all I'm saying.
Shonda said, we just had homecoming at SU. This is still being investigated, so I'm going to reserve judgment. Hey, defend your school from now as an alumni and a D9 member. It's not a good look for SU, though.
Yeah, Dr. Jones says hazing of any sort is illegal and should mean the charter is revoked.
Ooh, Dr. Jones.
There you go.
Dr. Mellon says it's stupid and expensive to the organization. And because the Divine Nine is such a dignified and prestigious honor to have to be a member, you would think that they wouldn't be so ghetto about how you get in. And so gangster about how you get in.
But they're not but Black fraternities and sororities are not the only ones to do the hazing, though.
Oh, that's true. But I mean, we're just talking about Alpha Phi, the ones that have gotten suspended. We don't pledge those other ones, so we can't really talk about it. They not in our wheelhouse.
Just saying, the other ones are ghetto too. They killing folks too.
Yeah.
Too much.
So let's head over to the Black church. This is what Orange G wanted to talk about. Bishop Winans, and I'm talking about Marvin Winans, has a question. You know, he says the question is his so he's calling out members. So he's trending over recently calling out a church member for only donating 1,200 at a fundraiser. Now it went like this. In the video, Bishop Winans called for 1,000 plus $1,000. So that's a total of two. And then he offered 1,000 plus an additional 200. Take a look at the video to help put it all in perspective. I put the link in the script rear. You got to hit the volume.
Receiving the blessings to come to all that participated.
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
Well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
So Fred Hammond, everybody know Fred Hammond. Fred Hammond posted the whole video, right? And so basically he gave you three options. He gave you the 1,000 plus the 1,000. No, he gave you the 1,000. Then he gave you the 1,000 plus the 1,000. And then he gave you the 1,000 plus 200. So I'm assuming that this woman got in the wrong line. She was supposed to be in the 1,000 plus 200 line, and she got in the 1,000 plus 1,000 line. And Bishop Winans was like, we have order. You in the wrong line. Now, some are defending Winans while others felt he embarrassed her and it was unnecessarily harsh.
Yeah, well, I'll let David Youngblood speak for me on that. He says, in one word, charlatans. It's just ridiculous.
What's a charlatan? I'm not knowing.
What's a charlatan? Somebody who fleeces the flock like what he's doing there. It's just ridiculous, especially in the time we live in. People losing jobs. There are no jobs available. And you shaming this lady in front of all these people because she gave you $1,200 of her hard-earned money instead of $2,000. Get out of here with that.
Well, like I said, if
God.
you want to see the full scenario, go to Fred Hammond's. And I think a lot of times what happens too, I mean, she could have been over the usher board and she do stuff like that all the time. I'm not defending Bishop Winans in no way, but I'm just saying church culture and denominational culture is different all around. And that's the only grace I could give them, with that being said. But and this is nothing new under the sun. It's just like the same thing that happened with Marvin Winans, and he got dragged. Church culture is something different, and if you haven't been a part of it, a bishop told me, a very prominent bishop, when I was very heavily in the church, and I was a DJ for Kathy Hughes's radio station. I did the gospel, and Bishop Ulmer, one of my favorite bishops, pulled me to the side, and he said, "Niele, you're going to see some things. You're going to go behind the veil. You're going to see some things that are going to break your heart." He was like, "But you can never talk about it." And I understood what he meant. Church culture is something else. It can break you and you can never come back from it. And then sometimes you just stay on the outskirts of it.
Why would it break you if this is supposed to be somewhere where you go for spiritual guidance, for help spiritually, and for your relationship with your maker? Why would it break you?
Because people are people and people are human. And you have this expectation of people in a high regard because it's church. But what you don't realize is that they're people just like everyday people. They have struggles. The church ain't nothing but a hospital. And sometimes the pastors is just as sick as the parishioners. I mean, that's the only way that I can put it. And then there's sometimes where God will anoint a person to be able to preach the word, but they could be no earthly good. I mean, it's just what it is. It's what it is.
Why do they have? Well, we can go on and
No,
on.
you can no ask the question.
I'm like, why are you asking in this day and age, in this time, especially of black folks, $2,000 or $1,200 or anything for that matter? Why aren't you just saying, listen, if you are compelled to give, if you gave $1, give $1. If you are compelled to give, just give. If you can't, you can't. Why are they putting that onus on these people?
Because they're operating from the past. Like that, what he's doing I mean, I've seen pastors say, only the Lord told me that it's 20 people in this room that's gonna donate $5,000.
Good Lord.
You know, I mean, this is just the culture. We don't live in that culture. You know, we're in a time now where money is tight, but somehow, some way, these people still find a way to give it.
When I
And
was
so
a
this
li-
is just the operation of the church.
when I was a little child, I'll never forget seeing my grandmother and her sisters and everyone else go into the church, and the pastor, everybody's struggling every day of the week, and the pastor, it seems like every 2 weeks had a new Cadillac and
Mhm.
always had $500 suits. As a 5-year-old, I'm like, that's disgusting. As a 5-year-old, I was disgusted by it.
Yeah. I know there's a certain first lady out here who a lot of people, you know, I mean, it's a church that they go to. The church is in Compton right now, and she's coming to church every Sunday in at least $10,000 worth of couture from head to toe.
I agree with Dr. Marilyn. Stop putting men on a pedestal. David says it's a racket. And Greer, yeah, it did. It obviously started in with the white churches, and they continue to do it, and they do it on a grand scale too. You have these mega churches and stuff like that. And,
Evangelicals, yeah, the
mhm,
evangelicals are off the chart. It's
mhm,
like it's
yeah.
lights, it's camera, it's twirling. It's just like a whole production. But I also do think, I mean, I would leave. I think the whole concept of tithing, I think that there is a blessing in it, but I think that the church began to put too much emphasis on it, right? If you want to believe in that Malachi scripture to where you test the Lord and you give him a tenth, I believe that relationship is between you and God. And if you do it, I believe God honors it, but that doesn't mean that everybody is supposed to give a tithe. You bring what you had. The lady brought to Jesus what she had, and
I
it
was
was
going to say
sufficient. It was
yeah.
sufficient.
Yeah, my understanding of Jesus is probably different than many other people's understanding, because my understanding of Jesus is that he said, what you give, get free, you give free, and he was talking about what you're saying, the spirit, right?
Mhm.
You give free, but you get free, you give free, and he never asked. He fed thousands of people,
Right,
and he never asked for a dime.
right.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. God honors what's in your heart. Like I say, if you have the capacity to give a tithe, and that is your relationship with God, God is going to honor you the same way he will honor somebody that only has an offering. Or maybe all they have to give is their time and service unto his church. That is sufficient as well. And I think that that's where preachers lose the message, and make people feel that, oh my God, I have to give 10% every week. Oh my God, I have, you know what I mean? And that's not how God works. It's just to me, in my personal that's just not how he works. And I used to
Yeah.
get so caught up in, I have to give a tithe, I have to give a tithe. And then it's like, no, if you don't have it, God's not gonna take something away from you because you did. He gonna honor what you have. If all you got is 2 pennies to give, and you scrape them 2 pennies up to put it and make it to the church and put it in the plate, God will honor that just like he honors the person that just gave $1,500.
I'm done with Greer right now, so I'm not.
What?
You have to. I don't know if you saw the video or not, but we'll talk about that another time. But nonetheless, she's
You
she
know,
it's an inside joke. She says, yeah, and we have to do a lot of explaining, and we can't do it right now. But Dr. Joni says, I don't understand why money has to be involved when church is supposed to be a place of peace and calm and rejuvenation of spirit. Always the people who have the least who give the most. And
right?
um somebody else, oh, Dr. Marilyn said, Niele, fun fact, Kwame Kilpatrick is a preacher now.
Yeah, he is. He is. I mean,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, and, you know,
I can't make money off the government. Let me make it off
preaching is
religion.
a lucrative business. You know what I'm saying? If you have the right word, you're charismatic, and you could draw the people, ladies in particular. You know that's a nice financial come up. And if you notice, there's a church there's a church and a liquor store on every corner in the Black community.
That means it's a hustle.
I didn't say that.
Oh boy, we
I
better
didn't say
move
that.
on.
Oh my God, we have to move on. But hopefully, Bishop White, and I'm sure he'll be able to recover from this. And
So I'm sure he will when you finish counting those envelopes.
um,
He'll
and,
be
uh,
recovering in Hawaii.
a couple quick headlines. Mattel is honoring the queen of dance and directing. I'm talking about Debbie Allen. She just got her own
Nice.
Barbie doll to pay tribute to her contributions to arts and culture. So you can get your Mattel Debbie Allen doll at any major retailer or at Mattel Creations. And finally, in NBA news, Michael Jordan will make his debut in a new series called Insights to Excellence. And that's kicking off tomorrow at the halftime show of the Thunder versus Rockets game on NBC. So NBA season is starting, and Michael Jordan and and of course the TNT boys are now on ESPN. They'll be back as well.
Yep. Yeah, the NBA begins. Wow. Time flies.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So are we done with our headlines?
Yes, yes.
All right, folks, a little Black history. On this date in 1955, 18-year-old Mary Louise Smith is arrested for refusing to give her seat in the whites only section of a Montgomery, Alabama city bus. A little less than 2 months later, on December 1st, Rosa Parks was arrested also in Montgomery for her act of defiance, which was considered a key moment in the civil rights movement, and it ignited the Montgomery bus boycott. So before Rosa, there was Mary Louise Smith.
Yeah, and you know that the story behind that is her skin color was the reason why she wasn't the poster boy of the boycott. Now, I'm just saying that was just in the basement of the church conversation that they was having. That colorism still played a part within our community, and although she was the first to do it, they could have partnered her with Rosa Parks, but they decided to go with Rosa Parks because of her standing within the NAACP and her skin tone. And I thought that was very interesting when I did some reading about that. But her name should have been just as prominent as Rosa Parks because she's the one that set it off.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Our Black-owned newspaper of the day is the New Journal and Guide. The New Journal and Guide was founded in 1900 and counts among the oldest Black-owned newspapers in the nation. It's led by Brenda Andrews. The Journal and Guide focuses on local and national African-American news, sports, health, and Black arts. It's out of Norfolk, Virginia, the New Journal and Guide.
Lots of things happening today, and of course you can find out how it's happening from the Black perspective at BlackPressUSA.com.
All right, folks, check us out again tomorrow. It's Hump Day, so join us then. Thanks for watching.